Hey, everybody, Kevin here with Pursuing Pixels, and welcome back to another edition of Save It for the Cast, and you know the drill by now. I'm going to kick it over to John, Randall, and I for a little conversation. This one's actually clipped from an episode or a session, that we recorded a couple months back at the end of July, but that particular session, I feel like we just talked for a super long chunk of time, so I had a bunch of various conversations to clip from there for the Save It for the Cast material. But as always, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I've been digging into here first. I am going to keep things on the short and sweet side here. I've been just super busy lately. I had a wedding in Chicago last weekend on Sunday, then got back into town on Tuesday, and then had another wedding just last night. It's Sunday right now, recording this before the episode comes out tomorrow morning. So I'm just running on fumes, and then because of all the travel and weddings and stuff like that, I just haven't had as much time to get some gaming in, although I did get a little bit of gaming, a couple sessions in, just mostly watching John play some stuff while I was crashing with him, and then with our buddy DJ from the early days of the podcast, I actually played a few things. I was going to say with him, but more that he was kind of showing me some stuff. I played a little Animal Well, actually, for the first time, so I'll be digging into that on next week's proper episode of the podcast, because I really had a good time with that, even though I only played about 45 minutes or so. And then as for some of the conversation that John, Randall, and I are going to dig into after that, or after I dig into some of the stuff that I've been playing, we talk a little more Cannon Spike, which is, from that session when we recorded, and Randall and I dug into that a little bit. Then we talk about some of the various game deals that we've either gotten or passed up on over the years. Sometimes not necessarily even a deal per se at the time, but now looking at what the games are worth. In particular, I was looking at Cannon Spike, and then we kind of spun off into some of the other games that we've either missed out on or scooped up for ridiculously cheap prices over the years. And then John digs into some of the games from Droken, the developer. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's Droqen. And then just because it vaguely sounds similar, we talk a little Drakengard, Nier Automata, Nier Replicant, and whatnot. And then we talk some remakes, Onimusha and Metal Gear, get into a little bit of Kojima at the end. So we're kind of just all over the map for the video game conversation after this. And then, like I said, I'm going to try to keep it on the short and sweet side here. Mostly I've been playing as of late over the last week or so while I've been traveling back and forth. I brought my Switch with me, and then I've been playing a little bit more since I got back. I've just been firing up UFO 50 here and there again and again. Mostly I've been playing the last couple days. I've been digging into Ninpek, which is one of the games that I think I talked about in the early days. It's the third game in the collection, I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, at least in the chronological order. But it's just like a super fun, super simple little side-scrolling, auto-scrolling run-and-gun platformer. You got a double jump, and you got your shurikens. You play as a little ninja character, and you just throw. You start out with one. You can get up to 3 at a time as your maximum power, and then you're just trying to wipe out the enemies on the screen, collect the various little egg pickups that they drop, essentially coins or whatever. You're just trying to get a high score and whatnot. And that one's just been a ton of fun. I think I came pretty close on actually one of my first attempts, not ever playing the game, but first attempts firing it up on Switch. I made it pretty darn far. I have no idea how long the game, how is or whatever, because some of these games are definitely have way more meat on the bones than you would expect in a collection of 50 games for $25. But nonetheless, I feel like I made it pretty close on that one. I feel like the early games in the collection are definitely on the short and sweet side as well. And then one of the other games that I just fired up kind of right before hopping on to record this intro here was Fist Hell. I think Randall might have talked about this one briefly when we touched on UFO 50 recently, but it's the side-scrolling beat-em-up in the collection. Very much it reminds me a lot of River City Ransom. It's just got a ton of different weapons and items you can pick up. It's mostly you're fighting these zombies. Your mom gets kidnapped in the opening cutscene by these zombies, and the mayor promises to go try to help, but your character's just I know better than this. I'm gonna get my friends involved because this is gonna take too long if we try to run it through the system here. So just quirky, fun little beat 'em up with a ton of charm. It's definitely lacking some of these newer beat 'em ups that we've talked about even in classic series, but Streets of Rage 4 or even the newer game Turtles. I think it's Shredder's Revenge. There's a little bit more juice to the combat. It's not so much just button mashing, and there's a little bit more than what you would expect in an NES beat 'em up here. But nonetheless, it's definitely just like a pretty straightforward, playing it by myself here. I'm not having a ton of fun, but it is one that, like, if I'm ever, hanging out with Randall or John or any of my friends that are into kind of retro gaming and we're just kind of looking for like a somewhat mindless experience, Fist Hell is definitely a good time. But I'm just so happy to have UFO 50 on my Switch because I'm definitely going to be digging into some more of these games that I haven't really spent enough time with yet. And then otherwise, I've just been playing some games on itch.io from a couple of my favorite developers, sirmilkman and Sarn. The reason I kind of list them both together here is because they've collaborated on a couple of games just with the two of them. And then also sirmilkman has kind of like joined the ranks of Team Bugulon as of late. Which Sarn or Saturn Yoshi, they also go by, is also one of the like kind of, I don't know, I was going to say lead developers, but it's a team of like 14 people or something at this point. So I have no idea who's really running the show over there. I think they kind of just rotate based on whatever game they're working on. But as far as just sirmilkman goes, I finally checked out their shoot 'em up game, Renegade Rally, and I believe this was made for the low res jam or some kind of jam along those lines, because it's got like super low res pixel art where everything's just super zoomed in, super chunky, but at the same time, in true sirmilkman fashion, it's just like a super juicy, super stylish game. It's pretty simplistic gameplay. It's just a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up that almost looks like it could be like a more simplified like Game Boy Color game or something like that. Just something about the aesthetic kind of reminds me, or maybe the colors remind me of Game Boy Color. But yeah, that game was just a ton of fun to rip through the first level of, and I think there's 3 levels, so and a few different ships to pick from that all play just slightly differently, have different types of shots and stuff like that. For something that was whipped up for a game jam, I don't know how long that low res jam goes for, but it's just like a really polished, slick little fun experience. And then I actually went back and fired up the game that both sirmilkman and Sarn made together for our last game jam, or I think it was actually 2 game jams ago, called Lines. It actually just had like a couple symbols as like the actual name of the game, but if you look at like the URL, it's just like, says Lines as like the, quote unquote name of the game. But it's just like a really cool, I talked about this one back when we did the game jam, and I think it was 2 game jams ago. But you play, it's basically like almost, it reminds me a lot of like the Bit Generations games or the art style games, if anyone remembers those from the Game Boy Advance or the Wii U. I think they released some of those on. Maybe it was just the Wii, yeah, because I think they were WiiWare games. But basically they were just these like kind of simple concepts that Nintendo made or released or whatever. I don't know who really developed them. I think it was a bunch of different teams. But they were just like, simple concepts with super simple but kind of striking visual styles or presentations to them. And just like, just unique, almost like experimental games. And Lines really feels like it could fit into that. I'm just going to call it Lines for now, but it feels like it could fit into that collection. And you play as basically there's these like bullets that start flying in, or not bullets, but ammunition that starts flying in from either side of the screen. And then there's a track on either side of the screen, and then it starts to evolve as the game goes on. Sometimes it might be on the top and bottom instead of the left and right. But essentially it's like a Pong layout picture, single screen arcade experience. And then like the bullets are coming in from off the screen, and you got to like collect them with the back side of your turret that you're controlling, and then you're able to press a button and jump between the 2 rails that are typically in parallel with one another, and then you're otherwise able to kind of move freely along those rails to collect the ammunition, and then also dodge all the various projectiles and enemies that are coming in and flying off the screen. And it's just such an addicting, such a fun game, super stylish. It's just really one of the coolest games that I've played or I was going to say discovered, but it's hard to say I discovered it when they made it for our game jam. But it's just one of the coolest games that I've played, over all the years playing stuff on like itch.io and whatnot. And then, after that, fired up some of the stuff from Sarn and Team Bugulon themselves. I think these are all actually mostly from Sarn individually, but there's a game called LXD Red Honey. No idea what that actually means or stands for, really, but it's like a mini Metroidvania that really feels along the lines of like Cave Story or Caro Blaster. Much smaller than that, obviously, because I think this was made for like a mini Metroidvania game jam or something to that effect, but it's just got so much personality and so much juice to the gameplay. It's just like a run and gun, very much in the same vein of Caro Blaster, at least in the way that it plays and like how quick and snappy everything feels. And again, it's just got so much personality, and your character that you're controlling is just a square. So it's just amazing how much but I don't want to keep using the same word, but personality that they can get out of such a simplistic art design or art style. And then another game that I played from them is called Blibby versus the Aliens. This is like a side-scrolling run and gun that has a little bit of a twist because for almost all the levels, you can only shoot to the right. So it also feels a little bit like Caro Blaster, except like Caro Blaster lets you shoot either way but kind of lock your position once you're shooting. This game, you just kind of have to always be thinking, except for in a couple of levels where they make an exception here. You have to always be thinking about your positioning and getting off to the left of the enemies, and it gets nothing crazy or anything, but it was just a really fun, short and sweet little run and gun romp. I think was also made for some kind of low res jam, although I played the post jam version that added widescreen support and maybe a few extra bells and whistles or bug fixes. And then, speaking of bugs, I guess over to one game from Team Bugulon, and I'm not sure if Sirmilkman was in on the team on this one or not, but it's a game called Globeba or Globeba. It's Globeba. But it was just a really, really charming game, and there's still a little bit more that I have left to play. I played maybe about halfway through, but it's a top-down Zelda-style adventure where you play as this little, I think it's a cat creature, if I recall correctly, almost like a little wizard. And you have to find these spell books, and then as you progress on, the first spell you get gets assigned to one of the face buttons, and I just unlocked the second spell, which now got assigned to a second of the 4 face buttons on, a standard controller. And it seems like there's clearly 2 other slots that you can see on the screen in the UI and HUD. And just everything in this game is just so stylish, even to the point where your health bar and the HUD and stuff like that moves out of the way when certain enemies walk near them and stuff like that. It'll just kind of shift off the screen for a second and then slide back over. It's just got so many nice little touches. This is another game that was made for one of the bigger game jams, either Game Maker's Toolkit or Ludum Dare, I believe. But it's just one that's been sitting on my list, quote unquote backlog of games that I was man, Team Bugulon's cranked out about 5 or 6 games since, I fired up any of their stuff. So I just was really kind of feeling I gotta, dust some of these off or, check them out finally. So nonetheless here, at the risk of just rambling on and on, because I feel I'm not even forming complete sentences at this point, I'm going to kick it over to John, Randall, and I for a little video game chit-chat. Like I said, all over the map this week, and barely kept it on the short and sweet side at all here. I wanted to go for 5 minutes and ended up going for about 15 or maybe a little less, but nonetheless, I'm going to kick it over to John, Randall, and I here for a little video games chit-chat, and until next week, we'll catch you then, and take care.
I meant to play more Cannon Spike today, and that just was not able to fit into the lifestyle, unfortunately.
That's okay, man. I was just telling John that I got some time in with it, some good quality. I got one run in with each character.
Nice. Including the hidden characters?
No, just the 5 that are, because I know Mega Man's in there, and I think there's one more hidden character, at least one more.
Yeah, I was reading about it, that apparently they're on the select screen, a la Puzzle Fighter or whatever else. You just kind of have to keep your cursor going until it goes off of there, and they might be selectable that way. But I just didn't get a chance to boot it and try.
Okay, interesting. I definitely remember trying it before, when I first got this game. I remember trying it. Well, I'll save it for the cast, but I definitely remember trying it. I'm excited to also reveal while we're talking about it on the podcast. For whatever reason, this is one of the random games that I bought from a used shop that I didn't peel the price tag off that I bought it for. So okay, I know what I paid for it, and I know what it goes for now.
I love that. I'm so dying. Happy to hear that when the time comes.
I was dying. I was oh my good Lord. And I probably at the time was looking at it do I really want to spend this much on a game?
I know you
really
were.
Want to pull the trigger?
Yes, definitely.
I'm super pumped.
Yeah.
I could see I'm ticked because I can see the residue on the Bang.io and and Mars Matrix that I bought from the same store, I'm sure. And I probably, because I can see the residue, I probably, by the time I got around to scooping up this one, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave it on there. I can't peel this sticker off good enough.
That might have been in the same receipt then, even, that you got those 3 from that place, huh?
It very well could have been.
Wild.
I'm pretty sure it was from People Play Games, John.
Oh, yeah.
Based on the sticker on the back. It was either there or the exchange, but I feel like People Play Games would have been where I found a couple random Dreamcast gems.
Anything from People Play Games. I think every time I went there, it was always like stuff that I wasn't interested in.
When I first
I've always found something at the exchange.
Yeah, the exchange is great, actually. Yeah, all of the locations, and they have like a different variety at each one. Like I love how you can kind of almost get like a little sense of like the people that live in the area based like there's
and
some local
over
game
the
shops
years, like how the things change, like because the exchange 10 years ago had a much different selection than it does today. Like,
oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, and same with People Play Games. Like when I first discovered it when I moved to Chicago, I was like, this is fucking amazing. And then I kind of like plucked it clean of like all the stuff I wanted. And then by the time every time I went again, I was just like, they just have the same old games. And like, I'm not going to pay $300 for Chrono Trigger. So all right, time to go home again empty handed or buy some dumb game that I don't want just because I like feel awkward and uncomfortable in a small store with not too many people shopping. So I'm like, I got to buy something.
Yeah. Chrono Trigger is definitely another time capsule price thing for me, because I went into some shop in like Michigan, one that I hadn't been in before, like was this real hole in the wall in like a strip mall, very unassuming sort of thing. Just found it online, and like Tina and I go in this place, I don't know how many years ago in Michigan, of course. And like, there was a copy of Chrono Trigger there. And there's a lot of games that were just like unmarked, no prices on a lot of stuff. And I'm keeping cool because I'm seeing some reasonable prices on some things. And then, I bring Chrono Trigger with some other stuff like up there. I'm like, I'm just wondering, like, what does this Chrono Trigger go for? He's like, you know what? He won't price any of this stuff. I've told him, you know what? $5. Let's just do $5 on his. And then like I end up like grabbing a couple other things. And then and this was a mistake because by that point there was another thing without a price. And then she calls the guy. And then gets and like, and then it's like, I was keeping it cool that whole time, like, oh, okay, yeah, $5. And then she comes back and says, oh, $45. And I'm like, no, I cannot do. I expected $45. Yeah. And then I'm like, and now I look back and like, oh, $45, huh? Okay, well,
yeah.
Now I still don't own that game.
Oh, you did? I thought you still bought it for the 45.
Nope. Then it was the principle of, well, you're gonna get that much more money than what we originally said, and I just walked out without it, which was not correct decision in the moment.
Yeah, that's one I still don't own either. My best like value purchase that I still remember, it was just like a random like Craigslist find, I think, that somebody was just like unloading some games, and I like met them out by like UIC, John, like it was a random like parking lot, and I got Earthbound and Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, and there was one other game in the pile too, and I don't remember. It wasn't like anything on that level, but I think it was like $86 or something like that for all three of those games. And the other game was like a decent game, but just like something to just like, oh, I don't have this in my collection, I'll round that out. Mm-hmm. And the Earthbound copy is like pretty much perfect. The Super Mario RPG has like a little bit of that like scuffing on like the corner, like where it folds over, but I can live with it. I was like, oh my god, yeah. I think it was like $35 for Super Mario RPG, $50 for Earthbound, and then it was just like a couple bucks for that other game that I got.
Earthbound now goes for $347. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. God, I really, because I listened to that. I've been listening again, like just going through the backlog of that classic gaming podcast. And the one guy on there, like the main host, he like pretty much exclusively buys complete in-box games. He doesn't like go crazy and like have a massive collection, but he just like, if he really wants one, he's like, I'm buying that game. And so he was talking about like the Earthbound full box, and I was like, "Oh my god, that sounds so cool!"
Especially
But
with
obviously
the big box.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the big box with the manual, or not the manual, but the strategy guide or whatever. But I'm sure that had to be nearly $1,000. He's nuts, the stuff, because he's like, "Oh, I just bought a 3DO and I bought a handful of games for that."
Nice.
Like, Jesus Christ, man. What do you do for a living? I know it's not this podcast. There's no way you're buying these games.
The podcast is the justification.
Yeah.
Exactly. He actually says that all the time. He's like, I could never justify buying this if I didn't have like, the excuse to like, now I get to talk about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's definitely put me over the edge. More on like the digital stuff though, to be honest, where I'm just like, I'm just like, let me just download a bunch. I need some new stuff for the Save It for the Cast, or I need some new videos to make. Like, let me just, these all look fun. Let me buy a bunch on sale for $2 to $5, and at least a few of these will be worth making a video for. So
Absolutely.
We still need to get that Droken game, like the poetry game.
Oh yeah.
That
Applove was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good. I didn't realize that Droken also. I knew that Droken made Starseed Pilgrim because that was the like point that the movie or like the video was like comparing it to, or like mentioned it. But I didn't realize that Droken also made Probability Zero and another title that I cannot pull the name out of my ass. It's like 10 milligram something, like Labyrinth or something like that.
Was it like part of that like 10 like series of games? There was like it had like a little pill logo.
Yeah.
Next to it, yeah, there's like they released these like 10 mini games. Or like I forget what they call them, but they were like all games that you could like finish within an hour or two, and it was like a team of like 10 different devs or
cool.
teams, that released a game like all in like a package, or you could buy them all individually too.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. They were like all games that had like a real cool like energy to them,
Yeah. I'd like booted Starseed Pilgrim up recently again, but like again didn't put any time into it because like the whole point of the game is like figuring it out and
like taking notes maybe.
Yeah, whenever I got to the point where I couldn't figure anything out, I was like, well, we're putting this game down.
Yeah, I do want to play that though. You know what I thought you were going to say when you said Droken?
Mm-hmm.
I just recently, it was just like a comment I saw somewhere or whatever. But I didn't know. Are you guys familiar with the series of games Drakengard or Drakengard? Those are apparently like
Nier Automata.
Nier universe. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's why.
And they kind of look like they have a little bit of like a Panzer Dragoon like influence. Like it looks like there's some like shooting sections like on rails riding on dragons. I was like, what the hell, man? How did I not know about this game?
I gotta play Nier Replicant and
there's 3 of them.
Go back into Automata.
Yeah, I picked up Nier Replicant not too long ago. I definitely want to give that one a try.
Yeah.
I did not know. Like, I thought it was like a spin-off game, like kind of like there's like I bought, I think it's called Valkyria Revolution. And it's like, it's not one of the numbered Valkyria Chronicles games, but
yeah.
Or maybe it's Valkyria Chronicles Revolution. I can't remember if it has the Chronicles name in it, but kind of just random. But that's kind of what I thought that Nier Replicant was. Like, oh, it's like a little side story. Like it was going to be a DLC, but they expanded it into like a, a more full game. But then I was like, oh no, it's like a remake of the first game.
Yeah.
Updated version of
which
the
is
original
very
Nier.
cool. Yeah.
2 versions in Japan, apparently, because we have to make that even more complicated of a series to sift through that way. Wow.
It looks sweet though. Like equally as sweet almost. I wonder how different it is. Like, I'm curious to get some of these. Like, I really want to play. Like, I bought that Onimusha remake on PS4, but the only thing that, from what I understand, is different. Like, it's pretty much just an up-resed version of the game. But then it doesn't. They apparently made like an Xbox version that added a few things. It doesn't have any of that added stuff, which is weird. It's like if you're gonna make a remaster of an old game, include all the new shit that you added.
That's been a lot of that lately, where they're not doing that, and they're not taking the time to do that, which just seems.
And then there's not even a way to get it. There's not even like they're not even like
I am
releasing
saving
DLC.
this for the cast. You guys, oh boy.
I lost my train of thought there. What was I?
It didn't. The Onimusha didn't have the.
Oh yeah, it also apparently they have a new soundtrack on this version. Like I'm sure it's just like something to do with like the rights. But I was just listening on that classic gaming podcast. The one guy happened to play the first Onimusha game, and he's like, "Oh my god, the soundtrack is just incredible! Oh, it's amazing!" And I did read some comments that people were talking about, like, "Oh, it's a shame they don't have the original soundtrack. It's way better." So now I'm like, so it's like I can play the better looking version with the. I'm sure if having never played the original, like. I remember people complaining about things in Twin Snakes from Metal Gear Solid.
That's exactly what
the
I was
remake.
thinking of, like, when you were talking about this, like how much like Kojima wants to go back and do like director's cuts or remastered or remakes, and like how that like kind of futzes with like the balance of like the original games in weird ways, that they're all their kind of distinct versions.
Yeah. I remember, and actually, you're right, because he's done that with not just that game, because obviously with 3, there's the subsistence version or whatever it's called. Yep. There's been quite a bit of that. But I vividly remember one of the guys that we worked with, Randall at Best Buy. I think his name was Tyler. I remember I was telling him that I was playing Twin Snakes, and he was like, "Oh man," he's like, "There's this one scene where like Snake's on the elevator, and he's like, they just play all this music, and it just ruins the scene, man." He's like, the PS1 version has like, it's just this real understated. For whatever reason, I just vividly remember him like going into it and like, "Nah, man, you got to play the original."
I was just thinking about Twin Snakes like a couple of days ago. I'm like, I really do need to play any of the other Metal Gear Solid games. It's kind of sad and ridiculous that I haven't.
Say the word, man. I've been kind of itching to play either 4 or 5. I played only a tiny bit of 4 around the time it came out, or around the era it came out, because I probably played it way after, and then I've never booted up 5, but I did play a little bit of that Ground Zero.
Yeah, that's what I was going to play around with, Ground Zeroes, or potentially, well, I think they're doing 2 and 3 remakes, or they've talked about it. I don't know.
They are doing a 3 remake for sure, but it's like but without him involved at all.
Yeah.
I'm curious about it for sure, but because they made that. I totally forgot about this, but they made another Metal Gear game after he left. It's like Metal Gear like Zombie something. No, it's like an online multiplayer game. Like it's I don't know. It's a totally bombed. I forget what it's called. But yeah, I kind of forgot about Metal Gear Rising too. I think they even made a sequel to that game.
Revengeance Rising.
Yeah.
I have the Phantom Pain. That was, for whatever reason, the only one that was on like deep discount, and I just didn't want to buy any of them at like the full price, which they're still all at. Like I hear that
Twin
one's
Snakes, pretty cool, but in terms
like,
of like just like all the like experiment, like it's kind of like Breath of the Wild-y, or like very like systems driven, more so than the other games.
And then I do have Death Stranding that I've still never touched. And,
apparently Death Stranding 2 came out recently.
Yeah, it did.
I did not even know that was a thing that was happening.
It's
I
really
also just go ahead.
No, it's interesting. Jonathan Mondragon in Fern like was talking about it, and how like it is very much like a post-COVID game, because Death Stranding 1 came out during COVID. And then like apparently like Kojima was like, okay, that may have been a little too bleak. maybe let's throw out the planned story I had for Death Stranding 2 and kind of maybe like have a little bit more hope about how humanity might respond to something like this. So it's very interesting to like, it does seem like it made a huge pivot in terms of like story from the first one.
I can dig that.
At least in tone.
I can definitely dig that. Have either of you guys heard of the game? I don't know why what you were talking about reminded me of this, but maybe just because people have been mentioning it on this other podcast. It came out last year, called 1,000 Times Resist.
No,
it's just spelled like 1000x resist, like all one word. It's like one of the highest rated games in like recent years. It's got a 96 on Steam.
No.
Developers Sunset.
Yeah, but it's like really, I just know it's like really narrative focused. It's not. I don't think it's like a visual novel, but
okay,
but it looks fucking awesome. Like the art style looks
great.
Yeah, the first thing I thought when I saw it was like, this looks like a John game.
Is Killer 7? What's happening here?
Yeah, I know.
It kind of looks like Killer 7 meets Damon. Damon Ex Machina.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get that new one on Switch too. When they showed that trailer for that game, that thing looked freaking awesome.
It did.